What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are continuing on with our 355 days of vlogging, and today is Thursday, January 15th. So yeah, I don't know how many of you are getting ready to do your taxes from last year, but it's definitely that time of year again. But today's something that I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about was around, I don't know how many of you have children or you're familiar with the terrible twos or those stages in our lives where we've become just independent enough to cause ourselves trouble, right? To get in our own way, so to speak. When, you know, how when a toddler starts learning how to walk and they can feed themselves, they think, oh, well, you know, I know better than my parents. I can do anything that I want to do on my own. I don't really need to listen to them anymore, just because we have gained so much autonomy. And then eventually, you know, we slip or we fall or we need to go somewhere and we realize that we still need our parents. And it's funny because the same thing happens in our spiritual walk with God. So often we grow up and we become adults, and even though we know, you know, God's been around for eons, like more than hundreds of thousands of years, and we can still think, oh, well, you know, I'm an adult now. You know, I've been around for 20 years or 30 years or 50 years. I know better than God. And then developing this attitude around it that, you know, like, because I'm an adult or because I've been around so long and there's so many things that I feel like I can do on my own, I don't need to listen when God's talking to me. I don't need God to tell me what to do. The thing about that is, we're always going to be following someone, right? We're going to either be following our flesh, we're going to be following the enemy, and I mean, in all honesty, the enemy is fine with you following your flesh. That's in line with his will. Or you're going to be following God's will. So we do have a choice. But if you're thinking, I don't want to be told what to do, it's not really a thing. So basically, from the day that we're born until the day that we die, we have people that are going to want to take control over the directions in which our lives are headed. So that's going to be God, who loves you, who has your best interest at heart, who wants good things for you, wanting for you to choose a path like we do as parents for our children, that is going to create less resistance and less stress and less harm for us in the long run. We have the enemy, who does not love us but would like to prove to God that we don't deserve to spend an eternity with him. And then you have your flesh, which is looking out for your own instant gratification, and ultimately the will of your flesh is in line with the enemy and not wanting you to follow God's will for your life. And then we have other people here on this earth who are going to have their own agenda for you as well. So sometimes what the outside world wants, what God wants, is going to be in line with our flesh, and sometimes it's going to be in line with what the enemy wants for us. So you're never going to have somebody not telling you what to do or not wanting you to live your life a certain way, but you do have the freedom, right? God did give us the free will to choose what path we want to take, to choose who we want to follow. And I did want to elaborate on that a little bit too. Like, if your flesh, the desires of your flesh happen to be in line with God's will, there's always going to be some sort of compromise involved. And at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It means you missing a part of your blessing because you're not walking, you know, by faith and fully being obedient to God. You are trying to skirt around what God has asked you to do to try to compromise and please the flesh. So it's, I mean, if you ask yourself if it's really worth it, it's not. You can end up living a life like that, like a lukewarm life. In the Bible, it says that God would rather us be hot or cold, but if we're lukewarm, he will spit us out of his mouth. To not have to deal with being cut off from the kingdom or being cut off from a blessing that God has for us because we're trying to, please the flesh, because we're trying to compromise on the standards that God has set for our lives. I love you guys so much. I hope that this was a blessing to someone. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.